Hello everyone, and welcome back to another remote sensing lecture video. And in this lecture video, I want to sort of go through the first concept of how an unsupervised classification works. This is going to be a very conceptual overview. And then in the next video, we're going to go through sort of a step-by-step example. So what I want to really drill into your heads or get through to you in this video is this thing right here. We've talked about imagery in the first 5 weeks. We talked about something called a spectral profile, which for a single pixel graphed out the wavelengths. So wavelengths were on the X and radiance or reflectance was on the Y. Now I want to talk about another way that we can visualize remote sensing data. And this is called a spectral plot. Right? And so a spectral plot, if you can imagine, this would be band 1. Let's go ahead and let's call this blue. And let's call this green. Right, so this would be band 1. This would be green, which we could call band 2. Right. And so you can imagine, so we could, put these into, with band assignment into the blue and green channels in ArcGIS Pro. We could pick this pixel here and we could plot the blue and the green and then red and et cetera, and make a spectral plot, or sorry, a spectral profile. What we could do is we could instead say, let's make blue, right, band 1, let's make that value the x-axis, and let's make green, or band 2, band 2 the y-axis, and rather than graphing an individual pixel, let's graph all of the pixels, right? So you can imagine, for example, this pixel right here, right? So this pixel right here, let me mark it with red. We could take the blue and the green value of this pixel, right? So 223 and 209. And we could then graph that here. We could say 200, so 203 roughly, and 209 roughly. So this can be, it's like right here, right? And we could do the same thing with, say, this pixel right here, right? Again, I'm just sort of marking the same pixels, right? 17 and 4. Well, 17 and 4, that's going to be somewhere down here, right? And so on and so forth. So we can take this concept of an image, right, the bands, and rather than making it into an RGB image or into a spectral profile, right, we could plot all of the pixels in what's called spectral space to create what's called a spectral plot. Right, so you can see these have really high reflectance radiance in band 1 and band 2. Right, these have really low reflectance or radiance in band 1 and band 2. Okay, so what does all this have to do with unsupervised classifications? Well, what an unsupervised classification is going to do is it's going to convert sort of internally. It doesn't actually make a plot, but what it does internally, right, is it looks at the data this way, right? It looks at it in a sort of spectral plot way. And it says, okay, well, what groups do I have here? And it's going to use an algorithm to say, okay, well, I see a group right here. And I see a group right here. And I see a group right here. Right? And I see a group right here. And then it's going to go backwards, back to the image and say, okay, this pixel 1, right? Well, what pixel is this? Right? Let's mark this up. Right? What pixel is this pixel right here? Well, 3547, right? It's going to be in here. So we're going to assign it to the first class, right? Its classification or its class designator, right? Remember when I said in the classified image, this is the classified image. Right, I said that these pixel values, right, this is a class designator. right? It's literally saying, okay, well, pixel 1, right? It's in this first class, so I'm going to give it a class designator of 1. Right? If we look at this pixel again, right, the one that we designated as red before, right, it's up here, it's in the 4th class, so I'm going to give it a class designator of 4. Okay, so we're going from bands. Internally, it's not making a spectral plot, but it's looking at the data this way. You can think of it as looking at the data this way. It's using the algorithm that we'll talk about in the next episode or the next video to sort of figure out where these clusters occur, and then it's going to assign a class designator based on which cluster a particular pixel belongs to. So again, right, this first pixel here was in this cluster, so its class designator was 1. So hopefully that makes sense, and if you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you.